They were meant to stay awake for 30 days. But by day 10, they were no longer fully human. By day 15, they had stopped speaking. And by day 20, something else started speaking through them. This is Case File 17, the Soviet experiment the world was never meant to hear about. Before the fall of the Soviet Union, there existed a facility known only as Object 17. Hidden deep in the Siberian corridor, it housed the Psychological Advancement Division, a branch responsible for human endurance research. Most experiments were harmless. This one wasn't. In 1953, after a series of classified intelligence failures, Soviet strategists became obsessed with a question. Can a soldier remain awake for 30 days without losing obedience? To answer that question, the division created a compound codenamed Probuzhdenie, the awakening gas. 5 political prisoners were chosen, not because they were dangerous, but because they were forgettable. Men the state could erase without paperwork. The chamber was sealed, the gas was released, and the countdown began. For the first 3 days, everything looked promising. Subjects were alert, responsive, cooperative. By day 5, they began showing early signs of sleep deprivation, irritability, mild paranoia. The division saw this as progress. Then day 7 arrived. The men stopped sharing their thoughts with each other. They became territorial, silent, withdrawn. On day 9, one of them began screaming, not from pain, but as if trying to drown out something only he could hear. The others begged for the gas to stop, but that wasn't part of the protocol. By day 10, the screaming stopped, completely. Silence filled the chamber. The subjects sat motionless, staring at the walls, blinking only when absolutely necessary. Then they began whispering, not to the researchers, not to each other, but to something above them, as if answering unheard questions. The division logged this as group hallucination episode, but the tapes, later classified, tell a different story. Multiple voices, speaking through single throats. Day 13, their bodies started to adapt in ways that defied the medical knowledge of the time. Healing accelerated, pain response dulled, heart rates slowed, yet cognitive speed increased. The prisoners were no longer prisoners. They had become something else. On day 15, researchers attempted to administer food through a secured slot. No one approached it. Instead, all 5 subjects spoke at once. "We no longer require that." The researchers froze. This was the first time any of the men had spoken in days, and the tone wasn't human. Lead scientist Dr. Raskoff reported, "Speech pattern appears rehearsed, unified, collective." The gas levels were increased. That was the final mistake. The chamber cameras picked up movement at 02:13 a.m. All 5 subjects were standing, perfectly still, perfectly aligned. Then, without cue or communication, they dislocated their own shoulders. Every single one. Not in pain, not resisting, as if allowing something else to fit inside them. Alarms triggered, security rushed in, the gas was shut down, the chamber doors were forced open. What walked out were not the same men. Their eyes were fully dilated, pupils black, skin cold, voices layered like multiple radios tuned to different frequencies. They repeated a sentence until the last guard fled. "As long as we are awake, you cannot bury us." At 03:10 a.m., the facility was placed under lockdown. No bodies were ever recovered. No escapees were ever recorded. Yet 5 movement signatures disappeared into the Siberian wild that night. The division was dissolved a week later. Object 17 was sealed. All files stamped non-existence directive. But decades later, after the Soviet collapse, fragments of Case File 17 resurfaced. Audio logs, medical notes, a damaged videotape marked day 15, and buried in the final page of the file was a handwritten warning. The gas did not create them, it only woke them up. So if you ever find yourself alone at night, unable to sleep, hearing faint whispers, don't worry, it's probably nothing. Probably. Case File 17 remains unresolved. If you want more forbidden Cold War case files, let me know which dossier I should unseal next. Until then, stay awake, or don't.